The July 15th meeting of the City of Suffolk Planning Commission will come to order. I call on Commissioner Hicks for invocation.
Let's pray. Lord, we thank you for this day and for this hour. We thank you for life, health, and strength, and for this beautiful and extraordinary city of Suffolk. We thank you for continuing to watch over our city, our country, and our world as we try to get it right. God, keep your arms of protection around our first responders, our military, both at home and abroad. Now, as we meet to tackle our docket for the day, keep our minds regulated and focused on decisions that will best benefit this great city. Be with us as we embrace our new leadership, and then keep us so that we can be kept. Bless us so that we can be blessed. In the mighty name of Jesus, we do pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Commissioner Hicks. Mr. Wine, will you call the roll?
Yes, sir. Commissioner Bauer.
Here.
Commissioner Creekmore.
Here.
Commissioner Edwards. Commissioner Goodman. Commissioner Hicks.
Here.
Commissioner Powell. Commissioner Thornton Manuel.
Here.
And Vice Chairman Staylor.
Here.
Mr. Vice Chair, we have a quorum.
Thank you, Kevin. This being the July Planning Commission meeting, this is our organizational meeting, and we will be electing our officers for the coming 12 months. At this time, I turn the chair over to Mr. Wine.
Thank you, Vice Chair Staylor. I will now take nominations for chairman.
Mr. Wine, it gives me great honor. I would like to make a motion to nominate Mr. Mills Staylor to be the chairman of the Suffolk Planning Commission during this term. He's done an exceptional job as the chairman of the Ordinance Committee, and I think he will do a great job as our leader.
That's a motion. I second it.
All right. We have a first and a second for Mr. Staylor as chairman. Any discussion? Well, we can take a vote on that. Chairman Bauer? Or, sorry, Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Creekmore?
Yes.
Commissioner Edwards? Yes. Commissioner Goodman?
Yes.
Commissioner Hicks? Yes. Commissioner Powell? Yes. Commissioner Thornton Manuel?
Yes.
And Commissioner Staylor?
I abstain.
All right. Well, congratulations, Mr. Chairman. That motion is approved by a vote of 7-0 with one abstention. I will turn the meeting back over to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wynn. First of all, I'd like to thank you for your confidence. We'll see how long that confidence stays where it is at this point. We'll see how it is at the end of the day. First, the Vice Chairman will serve as the chairman of the Committee on Ordinances, and so we need to appoint the Vice Chairman. So do I have a motion for nomination for the Vice Chairman of our committee?
Mr. Chairman, I appreciate you giving me the floor once again. In the spirit of our commission of always having balance, there's one commissioner who served on the Ordinance Committee, who's always have good comments, and I think she would be an exceptional Vice Chairman of our commission. So I nominate Commissioner Anita Hicks to serve as the Vice Chairman of the board.
I second
Thank you,
it.
Commissioner Edwards. Is there a second to the motion?
I second it.
Goodman?
Yes.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? If not, we'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Creekmore?
Yes.
Commissioner Edwards? Yes. Commissioner Goodman?
Yes.
Commissioner Hicks? Yes. Commissioner Powell? Yes. Commissioner Thornton Manuel?
Yes.
And Commissioner Staylor, our Chairman Staylor?
Yes.
All right. Motion is approved, 8-0.
Congratulations, Commissioner Hicks. We will almost get to sit beside each other again for a while, with the exception of the city attorney. Be separating us.
It might be a good thing.
Thank you so much. I welcome and look forward to the opportunity of working with you. As the chairman of, vice chairman of the committee, you will serve as the chairman of the ordinance committee. And I get to appoint 3 members to go with you. I have spoken to all of those, including you. And so I would like to appoint Ollie Creekmore, Mary Ellen Bauer, and Commissioner Goodwin. Okay, so you stand appointed. And generally, I'll tell you that, and Commissioner Hicks knows, we generally meet before the on this Tuesday before our meeting. Usually it's at 12:30. For some reason, if you're on that committee, you get lunch. The rest of us don't, but you get lunch. So there's a benefit on serving that. And it starts about 12, and then at 12:30 the meeting will start. They'll generally last an hour or so, and then obviously you will bring your full recommendations to the full Planning Commission for action, and then we will, most of the times, we put it on the agenda that day for the following meetings month. So look forward to the information you get from us. Second, I want to welcome our new members to their first monthly meeting of the Planning Commission. And so Selena Thornton Manuel, welcome to the group. We have a very cooperative group. We work together well, and I'm sure you will add to that in the discussions that we have. As I tell everyone, do not ask a question. If you have a question on something, ask it, because we can all use any additional information that might generate. And our second is Thomas Tom Powell. Presume I can call you Tom on occasion on the outside. Here I'll call you Commissioner Powell. And at the end of the meeting, I will call on each one of you to give us a little additional information on yourselves. So welcome to the group. I noticed that we also have some celebrities in our audience today. We have Councilman John Rector, who always comes. I think he's our liaison, so he reports back and tells council all the bad things we do. So he's a friend or a foe, depending on the actions we take. So Councilman Rector, thanks for being here. We also have the Director of Economic Development, I believe, Janet Day. And we welcome you, obviously, to the city. I have met you just prior to the meeting, and as everyone told me I would be, I was very impressed with our very brief meeting. So we welcome you to the city, and we welcome you to the meeting of the Planning Commission. I'm a little off schedule here a little bit, but that's okay. I would suggest that each commissioner review the bylaws and the procedures of the City of Suffolk Planning Commission. I pulled them out, and every once in a while, I'll just pull them out to make sure that we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. And Planning Director Wine and I talked a little bit about maybe having some educational sessions with the city attorney and others to just kind of go through some things. So we may set something up later in the year for that. Probably would be a brief meeting prior to our normal commission meeting. We'll move on to the agenda. We'll make a statement. The meeting is videotaped and televised for public viewing. And this afternoon, we have 3 public hearings. Public hearings are for 30 minutes, 10 minutes for the proponents, 15 minutes for the opponents, and 5 minutes for the rebuttal of the proponents. Okay. Before we do that, we need to approve the minutes of the prior meeting. Do I have a motion to that effect? It's been moved as second. Moved and seconded. Any discussion? If not so, we'll call for the vote. Do your curve.
Commissioner Bauer,
Yes.
Commissioner Creekmore,
Yes.
Commissioner Edwards, Commissioner Goodman,
Yes.
Commissioner Hicks, our Vice Chairman Hicks. Yes. I'll get used to it. Commissioner Powell, Commissioner Thornton Manuel.
I abstain. I wasn't here for that meeting.
Yep. And Chairman Staler.
Yes.
All right. The motion's approved,
That
7 to
motion-
1.
Motion passed.
Yep.
As I said, we have 3 public hearings. Public meetings are for 30 minutes, 10 minutes for the proponents, 15 minutes for the opponents, and 5 minutes for rebuttal by the proponents. First item is conditional use permit CUP 2025-00009, Verizon Wireless Cell Tower. Mr. Wine, would you please read the caption?
Yes, sir. Conditional use permit request, CUP 2025-009, Verizon Wireless Cell Tower, submitted by Jonathan L. Yates for Milestone Towers, applicant on behalf of Bishop Chief Rabbi Philip E. McNeil, property owner, in accordance with sections 31306, 31406, and 31716 of the Unified Development Ordinance to grant the conditional use permit to establish a telecommunication tower, new construction or increase in height on property located at 3927 Bridge Road, zoning map 13, parcel 17D, star NT. The affected area is further identified as being located in the Sleepy Hole voting borough, zoned O and I office institutional and RL residential low density zoning district, and SCOD special corridor overlay district. The 2045 comprehensive plan designates this area as part of the northern growth area and designated as office institutional land use type. When you act on this request, you'll be acting on a resolution to present a report and recommendation to City Council relating to conditional use permit CUP 2025-009. Staff Planner Matthew Madariaga will present staff's report.
Thank you, Kevin. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and members of the Planning Commission. As stated, the CUP is to establish a telecommunications tower on property located on Bridge Road. The property is located in the office institutional land use type in the northern growth area. The subject property is zoned O and I, office institutional zoning district, and is surrounded by single-family homes, vacant and wooded lands, office buildings, and a Suffolk Fire and Rescue Station zoned RL, OI, B2, and RU18. The applicant is proposing to construct and operate a 195-foot monopole telecommunication tower with a 4-foot lightning rod for a total structure height of 199 feet above ground level. The tower will be located in an approximately 10,000 square foot area within the 19.47 acre property. The property is forested with mature pine trees and non-tidal wetlands, which provide a natural buffer from adjoining properties to the west. The property is primarily used by a church, which is leasing out the area to the applicant. The proposed tower will be a monopole design made of galvanized steel. No advertising will be placed on the tower or compound. The tower will not be marked or lit, although past towers have been conditioned to place lighting on towers in accordance with state code and the UDO. The use of strobe lighting on towers is prohibited unless required by the Federal Aviation Administration, or FAA. The FAA only requires strobe lights if the tower exceeds 200 feet. The proposed tower is 199 feet in height and is not required to have strobe lighting. The applicant provided photos from different viewpoints within a 2-mile radius to show what will be visible from the surrounding areas. The first view shown above is from Burnhow Manor Lane. I've labeled the tower because it was a little hard to see in the background. This view is from Plummer Boulevard looking towards the west of the property. Again, the tower is labeled in the background. The above view is from Calvin Street looking towards the rear of the property. Tower is right above the tree line there. And then this is the final view from the Suffolk Fire and Rescue Station. Staff finds that the proposed use meets criteria for the conditional use permits set forth in section 31-306 of the Unified Development Ordinance, and that the use would not negatively impact the surrounding areas. Accordingly, staff recommends approval of CUP 2025-009, subject to the conditions outlined in staff support. This concludes my presentation. I'll stand by for any questions after the public hearing.
Thank you for the presentation. We will now open the public hearing. Who would like to come forward to speak in favor of this item? If you would, please give us your name and address.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Jonathan Yates, 105 Broad Street, Charleston, South Carolina. I also have with me the Milestone team, David Turner and Matthew Penning. Congratulations, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations. Before I start, I need to do an important thing. I need to thank Matthew. Throughout this process, I don't know if it was a total of 85, maybe it was only 84 stupid questions I asked him. He never laughed at me, helped me through this process, and I thank you. I also needed to reach out to the director. When you call this planning department, you occasionally get a lady named Marion Riddick. If you're having a bad day, and in fact, if I'm having a bad day in the future, I might just call to talk to Marion. Director, you have an incredible team. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Also with us today is Bishop McNeil of the church and Elder Locke, and we appreciate them being here. We're here for any and all questions. This facility, perfect location. It was exactly where Verizon wanted to be. And to give you a little background, the church first bought this property in 1920, originally using it as a farm. The church was over at 4300 Judah Lane. In 1980, they built the first phase of the church, 87 the second phase, and the parsonage or the bishop's residence in 1990. A little around about 19 acres. The bulk of it is zoned OI, and we're placing the tower in the OI section. A small portion where the bishop's residence is in the RL zoning. With this property, we were able to achieve a lot of things, exactly where Verizon needed to be. And again, this facility, we're not just designing for Verizon. Verizon's the driving force behind it. It is also designed for 3 additional broadband carriers if they want to improve coverage in that area. This property, because of its size and its present use, allowed us to easily meet all the setbacks. We are required to be the height of the facility away from a public right-of-way. We're about 270 to Bridge Road, 855 to Plummer, 520 to the rear, so it allowed us to meet all the setbacks. To get here today, we have to do a lot of due diligence. One of that is the FAA, which Matthew touched on. This has been reviewed and approved by the FAA, and they further found that marking and lighting, the air navigation lighting, will not be necessary. The closest air facility to this is Hampton Roads Executive, and that's 4.9 nautical miles to the south. So with the bishop's property, everything really came together in a good way. We were able to not just meet, but more than meet the criteria of the ordinance. It's where Verizon needed to be. It really, as you look at it, a perfect location. I know you will hopefully be making a positive recommendation. We'll find that. But if City Council deems to approve this facility, let me tell you a little bit what happens next. David Turner with us. If we're allowed to do this, he's in charge of construction. Takes about 60, 75 days to put in this facility. Most of that's letting the foundation set, the tower itself stacked in a day, and then Verizon comes to bring in their equipment and integrate it with their network. After that, on average, all the equipment's really operated remotely and monitored remotely, maybe 8 to 10 visits a year, so we're not going to be creating an additional traffic along Plummer, Levi Solomon, or Bridge. In addition, the facility does not produce any noise, odor, vibration, fumes, or glare. I've told you all it doesn't do. What does it do? It's infrastructure. It's wireless infrastructure. It improves the network in that area, whether it be for wireless voice, people using broadband on the internet, or to me, the most important, folks trying to get 911 first responders. You know, in the old days, you had an incident, you had to go find a phone. You had to go to a store or pull up to someone's house. Now, if something goes wrong and you got good coverage, you pull the phone off your hip and the 911 first responder can get to you. Again, I want to thank Matthew, Miss Marion, I have to thank her, but really wanted to thank Bishop McNeil and his whole group there. They didn't have to do this, but it again shows that this church, with its long history in Suffolk, this shows their dedication to the community, and I thank you, Bishop. I'm here for any and all questions. As well, we have Matt and David for any technical questions you might have, and we're here at your pleasure. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who would like to speak in favor of the request? Not. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to the request? There seems to be none, so the public hearing is closed. Commissioners, questions or motion is in order.
I offer a motion that we approve CUP 2025-009 with all of the conditions. I think there are 9. Yes,
And motion.
9 conditions.
Motion has been made. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Are there any other questions?
Yes, Chairman. I have a couple questions.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
For Mr. Yates. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon to you.
I just have a couple questions here. Who will be maintaining this, the site?
Milestone Communications will maintain it at all times.
Maintain at all times, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
For the 3 other carriers, have anyone contacted you besides Verizon that would be using this tower?
It's just Verizon. A lot of times, you'll have the lead carrier wanting to solve something in the area. There's generally a little wait and see from the others to see if, in fact, the tower will be approved. Our hope is that the other carriers will come on, but that's for the future. Right now, we have Verizon.
Okay, I think one of the other conditions is that if this tower is not used or unused within a
period,
year period,
will be
it comes
removed.
down.
It will be absolutely removed if not used for a period of a year.
Well, we hope that
We
it's
hope
in
that
use.
doesn't happen.
All right, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Commissioner.
you, Chairman.
Are there any other questions?
No, I just have a comment. That's fine. I just want to make a comment about towers. We live off of Lee Farm Lane, and we're within about 250 feet of an existing 199-foot tower. It does have, it's a Verizon tower, and it does have a number of transponders or transmitters or something at the top. I'm sure they've attracted a lot of activity, on that tower. I have not noticed, since we've been out there for a little over 4 years, I've not noticed any noise or anything like that from these particular towers. From time to time, there is they do test things, and from time to time, we do hear generators or alternate, whatever it is that they have to test the equipment, I'm sure. But I don't think we have not experienced any problems living, fairly close to a tower like that. So, yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Creekmore. Do we have any other questions or comments? We have a motion on the floor that's been seconded. We will call for the vote.
Yes, sir. Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Creekmore?
Yes.
Commissioner Edwards? Commissioner Goodman?
Yes.
Commissioner Powell? Commissioner Thornton Manuel?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Hicks?
Yes.
And Chairman Staler.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, the motion is approved by a vote of 8-0.
Thank you very much. This item will go to City Council on Wednesday, I believe August the 20th, with our recommendation for approval. Thank you. Next item, exemption request CEX 2025-00008, 5601 River Bluff Drive. Mr. Wine, please read the caption.
Yes, sir. Exception request CEX 2025-008, 5601 River Bluff Drive, submitted by Carmen Wilson, applicant and property owner, in accordance with Section 31-415 of the Unified Development Ordinance, to grant an exception to the development criteria and buffer area requirements of the Chesapeake Bay Preservation Area to permit an in-ground pool, spa, gazebo on property located at 5601 River Bluff Drive, zoning map 12C, parcel A*Y*AY*C. The affected area is further identified as being located in the Sleepy Hole voting borough, zoned RLM, Residential Low Medium Density Zoning District. The 2045 Comprehensive Plan designates this area as part of the Northern Growth Area Suburban Neighborhood Land Use Type. When you act on this request, you'll be acting on a resolution for a Chesapeake Bay Preservation Area exception request for property located at 5601 River Bluff Drive, zoning map 12C, parcel A*Y*AY*C, account number 302038600, CEX 2025-008. Once again, Staff Planner Matthew Madariaga will present staff's report.
Thank you, Kevin. Good afternoon, Chairman and members of the Planning Commission. The application before you is an exception request to place a pool, spa, and gazebo within the 50-foot landward portion of the 100-foot RPA buffer for property located at 5601 River Bluff Drive, located within the Holiday Point Estates neighborhood. The city's 2045 comprehensive plan designates this area as part of the Northern Growth Area Suburban Neighborhood Land Use Type. The subject property is 1.65 acres in size, located in the RLM, Residential Low Medium Density Zoning District, and backs up to the Nansen River, thereby requiring the 100-foot RPA buffer. The property is surrounded to the east, south, and west by single-family dwellings zoned RLM, Residential Low Medium Density, and to the north is the Nansen River and tidal wetlands, also zoned Residential Low Medium Density. Depicted here is an aerial shot of the property showing additional development on the lot. The subject property has been developed to the point where there is little usable area left outside of the RPA. In addition to an addition built onto the house, the property has a deck, a detached garage, shed, cabana, concrete patio, and a play area which is already encroaching into the buffer per the applicant's provided survey. Staff has suggested reorienting the proposed pool, spa, and gazebo to run parallel to the RPA buffer as well as to the deck, but the applicant has expressed that they want to keep the existing concrete area. In accordance with the guidance outlined in the riparian buffers modification and mitigation manual, for every 400 square feet of land disturbance, 1 unit of vegetation is required to be placed back within the 100-foot RPA buffer. A buffer mitigation plan was provided and depicts 2 units of vegetation to offset the impacts of the new impervious cover and land disturbance generated by the construction process. There are no direct impacts to the wetlands as part of this request. This photo shown depicts the proposed location of the pool, spa, and gazebo in the rear of the home. There appears to be ample space to reorient the proposed development out of the RPA buffer or reduce the size of the development to stay outside of the RPA buffer. Sorry, I think I'm missing a picture here. I'll continue. Some of the criteria that determine whether or not an exception should be granted include the requirement that the exception request is not based upon conditions that are self-imposed and that the exception request is the minimum necessary to afford relief. The applicant proposes to place the development within the RPA due to the fact that most of the area in the backyard has already been developed with a concrete patio. A deck in addition to the home, a detached garage, a cabana, a play area, and a shed. This means that the fact that the pool would encroach into the RPA is entirely self-imposed and is not the minimum necessary to afford relief, as the pool could be made smaller or some of the existing concrete could be removed to accommodate the pool. Staff finds that this exception request to install a shed within the 100-foot resource protection area buffer does not satisfy the criteria outlined in section 31-415 F5C of the Unified Development Ordinance, especially the provision that requires the minimum amount of disturbance necessary to afford relief. Staff believes that with the space available outside of the RPA, there is ample room to avoid impacts to the RPA buffer. Therefore, staff recommends denial of exception request CEX 2025-008. Should the request be considered with a motion for approval, staff has provided these recommended conditions. This concludes my presentation. I'll stand by for questions following the public hearing.
Thank you, Matthew. Just as a refresher, the hearing is for 30 minutes, 10 minutes for the proponents, 15 minutes for the opponents, and 5 minutes rebuttal. We'll now open the public hearing. Mr. Wine?
Let's see. No, public hearing is open.
Will the first proponent please come forward and give us your name and address? Is there a proponent for this project present? Seems to be no proponents here. Is there anyone here in opposition to this project?
Mr. Chairman, there was a document that was left on our desk from a Mrs., Kesling. Is that the owner of the property?
That's the second
Mrs.
one.
Wilson is the owner of the property.
She indicated that she was not going to be able to be here, so. FYI.
There were several additions that were left at our places. There seems to be no one here in opposition.
Apologies. The letter from Mrs. Kiesling was a comment from a citizen that came in after the comment period had closed. Ms. Wilson is the applicant. She didn't let us know.
Okay. All right. Well, we will close the public hearing. There's been no one here for proponent or opponents, so we'll close the public hearing. We will now, anyone have any questions? Would like to ask any questions of the city presentation?
I would, actually. So I went out there and the homeowner wasn't home, so I didn't go out on the property, but I did look, and I was hoping to get a better explanation of the project because what we were given was, I'm not being critical, but hard to interpret, like the drawing rendering. So I did see there's already a fence up there. So I was kind of hoping to get a little more information from the presentation. Not the city, but the proponent. Just throwing that out there.
Anyone else have any questions?
Yes, sir, Chairman. I did go out to the property. There's a fence out there that was already approved. It's in the RPA. And as I looked over the property, there's a boathouse that sits in a slope down into the RPA that's clearly not within 100 feet or 50 feet of this RPA. There's a pool there. And also, this homeowner, the applicant, has done some extensive work in the backyard, the concrete, a deck. And I think in the package, she did state that it would be hard to reposition or place the pool in another position because of the way she's laid the concrete deck. I think the picture from the staff doesn't show, the picture up there doesn't show the concrete deck or the extension of the deck in her backyard. I wish she would have showed up today to speak on her own behalf of this, but that's all I have to go by.
Any other questions or comments? I'll just add to that in that I did visit the property yesterday and met with the proponent of this, and I observed the same thing. I'm sure that the dock and all I believe she told me she'd been owned the property for 4 years. And in fact, Matthew was on the phone with her when I knocked on the door. So the city's been working on this for some time. There was a section on the 100-foot line that crossed the playground area by about 3 feet, and I think that was some comments that were in our writing. And the comment she made, and there's a fence around the entire property that fences in anything from outside, including going down to the little house and the pier. And I would presume that was approved many years ago. This subdivision, I think, was approved in the 60s. And so the 100-foot was not an issue back then. It's an issue now, as we are seeing just about every meeting. This property, if you look at the plat, other than that additional concrete, it's a huge concrete pad that's adjacent to the decking. And I guess to move the pool would require the removal of some of that concrete if you were going to get it within the 100-foot mark. And if you looked at the, Matthew, could you put up the one that kind of shows the pool on the property?
9 of our agenda
It's
packet.
difficult to see. It was easier to kind of look at it. I think it's the little box that's got the X's in it, and you can see where the 100-foot crosses the end that will be down towards the water. So the whole pool will not be in the 100, but you can see the cross, and you can see where it crosses the little playground area too, up there at the top. So about a 3-foot section there, but. In order for her to put the pool there with the hot tub she was looking for, she said she would need to position it that way. I'll have to take out a lot of concrete. That is not in the 100-foot range. So that's what I saw when I was out there yesterday. Any other questions? Thank you, Matthew. Any other questions?
Matthew, can I ask you a question? Make sure I understand. The city staff is requesting a denial. Is that correct? And just to reiterate, the main concerns from the city is what again? Make sure I understand.
Main concerns are that the proposed development they're not required structures, they're accessory structures that require an exception to the RPA, and there's no, I'm sorry, I'm stalling here. There's not a demonstrated hardship that would require us to give the approval recommendation for the exception. A lot of the development on there has happened recently, meaning that where they're trying to position the pool now is self-imposed. Whenever there's space outside of the RPA, it's always recommended to put it outside of the RPA whenever possible. If there were deep gullies or ravines or something like that that made it impractical or not possible, then that would be a different scenario.
I understand. So it's the city's position that there is a feasible alternative than to do it just this way.
Yes, sir. The main thing to keep in mind with exception requests is the minimum necessary to afford relief. It's hard from a city perspective, at least a staff perspective, because we don't get much discretion in what we look at. We have to look at it very black and white. It's hard to look at it and say a pool is necessary. That said, there's also space to shrink the pool. There's space to reorient the pool. Regardless, there's concrete there already that could be torn up and it could be shifted.
Thank you.
No problem.
Any other questions?
I just wanted to reiterate, I think because the applicant was expecting or the city was recommending denial, I would have hoped that they would have at least had someone here on their behalf for us to be able to learn a little bit more about the projects so that we could, for lack of better words, give them the benefit of the doubt that there was a hardship. Does that make sense at all? So, yeah.
Would you like to make a motion?
Oh, good.
Yes, I would like to I gotta get the number right, sorry. I would concur with the city, and let me get the number right. sorry.
That's okay.
Okay. Sorry, open my big mouth. I gotta find it. Okay. I recommend denial for CPA exception requests, CEX 2025-008.
And a motion to denial, is there a second?
Yes.
Second, Ms. Hicks? Yes. Okay, any other questions?
I just have one thing. We're going back and forth about how we wish the person would have been here. Fact of the matter is, they didn't come. So this should be an open and shut case for me. I just don't understand why we worried about it. They talked to her yesterday. You talked to her yesterday. She didn't show up, so we have to vote our
No, you're right.
conviction.
I was more worried about
Based
finding
on
the
the
right
information that
number.
we have.
Okay,
I was more worried about finding the right number, but I hear you. I hear you.
okay.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I just want to say this, and again, it's no secret how I'm going to vote. It's no secret. But again, hardships, we do understand. But I just ask the commissioners to be consistent. That's all I ask. Thank y'all.
Okay, any other comments? If not, call for the question. Kevin?
Commissioner Bauer,
A yes is a no. Okay.
Commissioner Creekmore,
Yes.
Commissioner Edwards, Commissioner Goodman,
Yes.
Commissioner Powell, Commissioner Thornton Manuel, Vice Chairman Hicks, and Chairman Staler.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, the motion to deny is approved by a vote of 8-0.
And I presume you will inform Ms. Wilson of our action?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Moving on. The next item we have is exception request CEX 2025-00009, 4236 Rivercliff Crescent. Mr. Wine, please read the caption.
Yes, sir. Exception request CEX 2025-009, 4236 River Cliff Crescent, submitted by Gerald Mason, applicant on behalf of Risa Mason, property owner, in accordance with Section 31415 of the Unified Development Ordinance, to grant an exception to the development criteria and buffer area requirements of the Chesapeake Bay Preservation Area to permit an addition to an existing shed at 4236 River Cliff Crescent, zoning map 19G2, parcel 34. The affected area is further identified as being located in the Sleepy Hole voting borough, zoned RL, a residential low-density zoning district. The 2045 comprehensive plan designates this area as part of the Northern Growth Area, suburban neighborhood land use type. When you act on this request, you'll be acting on a resolution for a Chesapeake Bay Preservation Area exception request for property located at 4236 River Cliff Crescent East, zoning map 19G2, parcel 34, account number 303276160, CEX 2025-009. Staff Planner Isabella Reynolds will present staff's report.
Good afternoon, Chairman and Planning Commissioners. This exception request is for the installation of an addition to existing shed within the 50-foot landward portion of the 100-foot resource protection area buffer for property located at 4236 River Cliff Crescent, located within the River Cliff neighborhood. The 2045 comprehensive plan designates this area as part of the Northern Growth Area and suburban neighborhood land use type. The subject property is zoned residential low density and is 1.69 acres in size. The property has tidal wetlands that are connected to the Nansemond River, thereby requiring the 100-foot resource protection area buffer. To the north and east of the subject property is the Nansemond River zoned residential low density. To the south and west of the subject property are single-family detached dwellings zoned residential low density. The applicant is proposing to install a 3-by-9-foot addition to existing shed on the subject property. The current shed is approximately 400 square feet in size. The addition will be 27 square feet in size. This will result in approximately 427 square feet. The installation will generate 27 square feet of land disturbance. On July 8th of this year, the Board of Zoning Appeals approved a zoning variance for the setbacks of the shed. The subject property was established in 1986 prior to the enactment of the Bay Act. Any disturbance generated from the installation of the addition will require vegetation to be placed back within the Resource Protection Area buffer. A buffer mitigation plan was provided and shows 1 unit of vegetation to offset the impacts of the new impervious cover and land disturbance. Staff finds that this exception request to install an addition within the 100-foot Resource Protection Area buffer does satisfy the criteria outlined in Section 31-415 of the Unified Development Ordinance. Staff believes this exception is the minimum necessary to afford relief because the addition is only 27 square feet in size. Therefore, staff recommends approval of the exception request CEX 2025-009 with the recommended conditions outlined in the staff report. I'll be standing by for any questions following the public hearing. Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. Once again, just a reminder, there's 30 minutes for comments, 10 minutes for the proponents, 15 minutes for the opponents, and 5 minutes for rebuttal. We'll now open the public hearing. Who is here to speak on behalf of the proponent? Give us your name and address, please.
Gerald Mason, 4236 River Cliff Crescent East in Suffolk, Virginia, in the River Cliff neighborhood. I'm here with my wife, Narissa Mason. I will speak on behalf of our project. Mr. Chairman, council members, and Suffolk officials and interested citizens, please consider. Narissa and I like our nice home, good neighborhood, and a healthy river. We purchased our home on the Nasbin 4 years ago, in short order, I became known as an animal by one of my neighbors. And that's because in Linda's word, I worked like an animal, removing all the tons of gravel, stone boulders, impervious vapor barrier, and other unsightly debris from the front of the house. In doing this, and as part of this effort, I reduced the impervious surface area of my property by 1,000 square feet. Our abundant neighbor Becky, or abutment neighbor Becky, commented that I was changing the history of the River Cliff community. As she observed my efforts removing 2 24-foot derelict cabin boats and a 28-foot galvanized boat trailer from the waterline of the RPA, adjacent to what will now become the ADU, and ultimately that is the objective, is to convert that shed into an accessory dwelling unit. With the 2 boats, I removed approximately 100 gallons of gasoline and fluids contained in 2 large engines for disposal. My efforts reduced the ISA by over 400 square feet within the RPA and prevented what may have ultimately become an environmental disaster. Soon after moving into our new home, my other adjacent neighbor, Donald, expressed concerns about the treated lumber that was allowed to accumulate on the property line by the previous homeowner. I promised then that when I removed the boats, I would also remove the lumber. I don't believe Donald ever believed I would remove the boats. I don't think anybody did. But I did remove the lumber also, over a ton of dock material that came ashore with the 2 boats over 12 years ago. This effort reduced the ISA by over 200 square feet within the RPA and greatly improved the appearance around the property line. We have an 800-foot square patio on the rear of the house. When we moved in, the patio was beautifully finished with 800 square feet of impervious sealed ceramic tile, creating 800 square feet of impervious surface area, partially within the RPA. Removing the tile and restoring the original gapped wood planks was one of our first improvements to the property. We don't claim to be environmental altruists. However, like many of you, I am a proponent of sustainable development. My efforts were to improve the home while considering the impact on my neighbors and on the RPA. Admittedly, my individual efforts did not always work out in favor of the ISA and protecting the RPA. For example, my neighbor across the street was bothered that during family visits, our guests would park on the grass easement along the front of her property. To remedy this, I installed 800 square feet of concrete to accommodate more cars in my driveway. It seems that somewhat improved my relationship with the neighbor. However, my effort admittedly did increase the ISA by 800 square feet. I also built the shed, of course, which added another 336 square feet. I believe, however, that my efforts were good for the RPA, but they were as much good for my nice home and certainly for the good community that we live in. A picture of what I had described is available on the city's website, where it shows what you call satellite imagery. I also have a copy with me here. I don't have it in digital format. I would be happy to submit that if you'd like. The first of which will show, and this can be taken from the internet from the Suffolk website. It shows, as I described it, the two boats as they sit on the water line, the patio with all the beautiful tile, the lumber, spewed about slung about the property line, and then all the rocks, boulders, and other materials sitting in front of the house, all of which has been corrected. Got other pictures here. One showing the two vessels as they were removed from the water, or the water line, as they were brought to shore. I also have a picture of my shed in relation to the adjacent properties, all pretty much in the same location within the RPA. And this is how beautiful it will be if you were to sit on the porch of my new ADU as it overlooks the water. We look forward to having family members enjoy that. I also received a letter from a gentleman in the community, one of my neighbors, and he knew so much of what was going on there because he was a nice guy but a nosy neighbor. So he saw everything I was doing, and he wrote a letter pretty much commended and recommended approval because he was aware of the work that was done and the asset that we are to the community and the manner in which we treat our river. And with that said, I'll be available for any questions if there are any.
Thank you, Mr. Mason. Is there anyone else? We have a few minutes left, about 3 minutes and a half. Anyone else to speak in favor of this proposal?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mason. Is there anyone in opposition to this proposal? Anyone in opposition to this proposal? I see none, so the public hearing is closed. I will call for any questions or comments or motion. Anyone?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd recommend approval, as noted by the Planning Department. For the exception request, CEX 2025-009, with the recommendations.
Is there a second to the motion?
I second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any other questions?
Mr. Chairman, yeah, I have one question. Can I speak to staff real quick? And to make sure I understand, you said there was already an exception given by the Board of Equalization?
The Board of Zoning Appeals approved a setback variance for the shed, as the shed is kind of close on the property line, but now the shed's good.
All right, thank you.
Oh.
Any other questions? I will just make a brief comment. I met Mr. Mason yesterday, and he showed me all of it. If you look at the little section that we're talking about, it's almost so small you can't see it. It's, I think, what, 4 feet wide or something like that, and it's just an addition to an existing building. With that,
Mr. Chairman, real quick, make sure I understand. But there's already an existing structure already in the buffer. Is that correct?
it's just an addition to the front.
But it's currently
Yes, it's
something that's
there.
already in the buffer.
It's already there.
All right, let's make sure. Thank you.
Any other questions? It's been moved and seconded. We'll call for the vote. Kevin?
Commissioner Bauer,
Yes.
Commissioner Creekmore,
Yes.
Commissioner Edwards. Yes. Commissioner Goodman,
Yes.
Commissioner Powell. Yes. Commissioner Thornton Manuel,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Hicks. Yes. And Chairman Staler.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, that motion is approved by a vote of 8-0.
Mr. Mason, this requires no further action, so you may proceed forward with that. This does not need to go to full City Council. Thank you for coming. Just a second. All right, moving on. That takes care of all of our planning, public hearings for the day. We'll now move into any old business. Do we have any old business?
We do not, other than the City Council update from the last meeting.
Okay.
Let's see.
Well, I've got that under new business.
That's
so-
new business. I apologize.
No,
I'm
that's
trying to bring
okay.
up the agenda.
Hey, we're learning here. Under new business, we'll have the status report, City Council meeting from June 18th, 2025. Mr.
There
Wine.
we go. No, that was a hefty meeting. I think our Assistant Director, Meg Pittenger, who was able to fill in that day. But the first item was a rezoning request. You will recall the Holland Glen rezoning request. This is the residential development out on Holland Road. That was deferred by the applicant and property owner, or by council, at the request of the applicant and property owner. They will rehear that. It is scheduled for their August meeting, August 20th. The rezoning request, RZN 2025-003 at Hill Point Boulevard. This was to amend conditions previously proffered by the applicant as a part of the NRGC rezoning that took place several years ago. That was approved with the proffers offered by the applicant. Conditional use permit for a day support at 108 North Main Street. This is adult day support. This was approved with the conditions recommended by staff. The Nansman Swift Facility and Recharge Well, CUP, to modify previously approved conditions pertaining to the establishment of a sewage treatment plant. That was approved with conditions by City Council. Riverbend Church and their CUP request to modify previously approved conditions as it related to the size of the sanctuary. That was approved with conditions by City Council. The Carolina Road conditional use permit to establish a contractors and trade shop. That was approved with conditions. The Wonder Kids Daycare, that is a family day home to serve 5 to 12 children at 522 Kilby Avenue. That was approved with conditions. And then we had 3 ordinance text amendments that went before City Council. One as it related to the solar energy supplemental use standards contained in 31-724 of the Unified Development Ordinance that was approved by City Council. The ordinance text amendment to establish supplemental use regulations for truck stops and travel plazas that was approved. And lastly, the ordinance text amendment that does bring our ordinance into compliance with the state code requirements on plan review timelines. That was approved by City Council as well.
Thank you, Mr. Wine. We're now at the portion where we will normally call for commissioners' comments. A little change in the agenda on how we do that. I'll start with Commissioner Selena Thornton Manuel, and I've asked her to tell us a little bit about herself, and then obviously anything else you want to say to us after you've told us a little bit about yourself, you're free to do so.
Thank you, Chairman. I wasn't expected to go first, so I guess I got to set the tone, right?
That's right.
All right. Thank you to everyone that came up to speak today. I appreciate it. And thank you to all my counterparts here. I look forward to the great conversations and to the voting. Couple things. A quote spoken by the 32nd President Theodore Roosevelt: "Speak softly and carry a big stick." A quote spoken by Prime Minister Winston S. Churchill: "Courage is what it takes to stand up and speak. Courage is also what it takes to sit down and listen." A quote by Congressman John Lewis: "Do not get lost in sea of despair. Be hopeful, be optimistic, get in good trouble, necessary trouble." Also want to say thank you to Mr. Arthur Singleton and Mr. Cantrell Irwine for their many years of dedicated service on this planning commission. A heartfelt thank you to Mr. Kevin Wan and to the staff, Ms. Katina and Ms. Thomas, for the smooth onboarding process. Thank you, and grateful to Councilwoman Ebony Wright for the opportunity to serve. Thank you to my family for your love and continuous support. I look forward to serving for the next 4 years, continuing to shape the city of Suffolk into a unique, thriving communities and business. So with that, I yield back to you.
Very good. Thank you so much. Welcome to this elite group. Next, I would like to ask Commissioner Thomas Powell to tell us a bit about himself and any other comments you might like to make.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I've been in Suffolk since 1977. My father was a pastor here for about 27 years. I didn't have enough money to leave town, so I married a girl from Detroit and brought her here.
Ooh, wow.
We have 4 children, all of adults, 20, 22, 24, and 26. They've got careers of their own. I operate and own a marketing agency, which is a crazy thing in Suffolk. I should be in Boston or LA or somewhere really fancy. But I've done that for 30 years. My wife and I just celebrated our 30th anniversary last week. And I can't think of a better, and I'm taking this from my wife's mouth, I can't think of a better place to live, raise a family, and just enjoy life more than Suffolk, being close to history, being close to waters and vacation area and good life. So and since you set the tone with quotes, I'd like to quote the King Solomon that says, "Surround yourself with wise people and you'll be wise." So I expect a lot of wisdom from this group surrounding myself with this. So,
Thank you very much. Now, speaking of wisdom, Commissioner Creekmore, do you have any comments?
Well, I got 2 things. Welcome to Selena and to Tom, to our august body here. And it's, as we were talking earlier, it's a very interesting assignment. You learn a lot about the city, what's going on with the city and the citizens of the city and the development that we continue to deal with, the positives and the negatives of that. But one thing I did want to say is that next week I'll be attending Virginia Planners Association. I don't know exactly what the name of it is, but I'll be representing, I guess, I'll be representing us on that, but we do have some presenters that are involved in this, Kevin and also others from the department that we'll be presenting certain areas of some of the meetings that will extend over a 3-day period, really, in Portsmouth at the Renaissance. Looking forward to it. This is a statewide type of organization, so we're going to have people from all over the state coming here, and it will be nice to have this area, Suffolk, being well represented on the in the dais that goes on over there. So anyway, look forward to attending that. And again, welcome to our new members.
Thank you, Ollie. Vice Chairman Hicks.
Yes, a couple of things. First
By
of
the
all,
way, with that and about $3 now, you can get a cup of coffee.
first of all, in their absence, let me congratulate on their retirement from this august body, both Mr. Everwine and our past chair, Arthur Singleton. I know he's looking because this is his first missing time, so I know he's watching. Great job, boy. And I'd like to. I'm surrounded by greatness, it appears. It looks like my seat's gonna move. Can I stay here? Because these folks are smart on both sides of me. Welcome, you guys. We all look forward to working with you. We have that same spirit. The spirit that you just heard from him is the spirit that we all have. I don't know if that's a coincidence or not, but it is the truth. Let me say thank you guys for the vote of confidence. I will do my best to not tell our chairperson what to do too much. And I look forward to working on on the ordinance committee as well.
Thank you, Commissioner, Vice Chairman, Commissioner Hicks. I'll move down. Commissioner Goodwin, anything you'd like to say to the group?
Glad to have you.
All right. That was brief. That leaves you lots of time, Johnny.
That's right.
Mary Ellen, I'll call on you first so you can get something in for Commissioner Edwards.
Welcome to our new commissioners. I'm very excited to have you guys. This is what I have learned in the short while I've been here so far, a very uniquely challenging opportunity to serve the city I love a lot. Love it for my kids, love it for everybody. And it's also very humbling, personally. But yeah, I'm excited for y'all to be part of the group, and also big, big thanks to former Chairman Singleton. With his guidance, he was a really great leader coming into this and showing me the ropes, and also Commissioner Everwine for his service. And love the staff, love the people here. I'm continuing to grow in this role, and I love the relationships that have been built. So it's a good place to be, Suffolk. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Ellen. Commissioner Edwards.
Mr. Chairman, first and foremost, I want to thank you all for this great meeting. I want to congratulate our two newest members, Commissioner Powell, Commissioner Thornton, Manuel. We expect great things. I want to congratulate all of the new members of the Ordinance Committee. Congratulations. It's a great honor. You can really enjoy that work. And I want to congratulate both the chairman and the vice chairman. I appreciate, your work, and we expect great things. I'm going to make real brief comments today. I just want to encourage all Suffolkians to participate and honor in your pastor's anniversary. It's a very important endeavor. So I want to thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Edwards. I will just make a little brief comment. Thank you so much for your support. I think we'll figure that out as we go forward. But I did see a news article that brought up something that we had before us, not here, but I think it was up in Massachusetts. There was a senior citizen retirement facility that was like 3 stories, and if you remember, we had a place on Penn Street that came up before us, and we voted to turn it down, but there was a fire and there was 8 deaths, and they had people hanging out of windows on what I saw on television. So sometimes you get some reinforcement from outside when you've taken position on something. So just wanted to comment that I did see that. With that being said, I look forward to working with each and every one of you. I appreciate our city council member being here with us, and now you can go back and tell them we successfully completed the first meeting under the new leadership. So it would appear that we have successfully completed our July meeting, so I would like to have a motion for closure of our meeting.
So move.
It's been moved. Is there a second? And a second. So all in favor signify by, well, can we do that by hand vote? Yeah. Yes. All in favor signify by saying aye. Raise your hand. All opposed, no. We stand adjourned. Thank you so much.